Okay, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back, and so are you, I see. It is Tuesday, September 29th, and it's 7:56 p.m. I know, you're probably saying, what? Why so early? Well, I'll tell you why so early. I want to be sure to catch the debate tonight, and that starts at 9. If any of you are interested, I just cannot even wait. I am so excited because, well, I know what it's going to be like. It's going to be like watching a slow-moving train wreck. Very, very slow-moving train wreck. Anyway, and I did have people suggest that I go live while it's going through. You know, I am actually considering starting to do some live shows because so many people have asked me about it, and I'm kind of a chicken to do it, but I don't know why. Really, it's no different than doing this. So I may be trying it over the next little while. Anyway, so let's get into the news, shall we? And you know something, I should have checked for coffee supporters today, and I did not. So forgive me, please. And the next show, I will catch up with those of you who have donated via coffee and etc. So thank you so much. But let's jump into the news, okay? We're going to try and get through as much as I can get through, and hopefully I'll be finishing up just as the debate is starting, so it'll be uploading, and I will be enjoying the debate. All right, probably along with many of you. All right, let's look at this. FBI agent who found Hillary's emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop says he was threatened with prosecution and told to cover it up. Now, is this a surprise to anybody? I don't think so. Those of us that have been following Q, and all of those crumbs have known this from the very start. And I always surmised that the police that were committing suicide were probably those that had seen what was on the laptop. So I don't know that for a fact, but it seems like, a very viable scenario. All right, let's take a look at this. We've heard for years that Bill and Hillary Clinton have something on members of the deep state, people in the military-industrial complex, in the garbage Washington press court, inside the federal bureaucracies, and in law enforcement, because they always seem to get away with what appears to be blatant violations of the law. Well, my gosh, that's a weird sound, isn't it? Some sort of a vehicle out there. Anyway, sounds like the Loch Ness Monster. Well, it does, a little. All right, so they've been getting away with this since they were, since he was the senator of Arkansas. So yeah, there's so many murders. They have like a body count behind them like you would not believe. So, case in point, an FBI agent dropped another bombshell that the fake news propaganda media completely ignored in recent days that, had it been something negative about a Trump family member, would have made headlines for days, weeks, possibly months. The Political Insider notes FBI agent John Robertson, the man who found Hillary Clinton's emails on the laptop of Anthony Weiner, claims he was advised by bosses to erase his own computer. Former FBI Director James Comey, you may recall, announced days before the 2016 presidential election that he had learned of the existence of the emails on Weiner's laptop. Weiner is the disgraced husband of Clinton aide Huma Abedin. Robertson alleges that the manner in which his higher-ups in the FBI handled the case was not ethically or morally right. Robertson made these bombshell claims in a new book, October Surprise: How the FBI Tried to Save Itself and Crashed an Election, in which he claims that the Obama Justice Department threatened to prosecute him, one of their own, if he informed anyone about his discovery. And, by the way, DOJ is still protecting Clinton. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton noted on Twitter, highlighting the book, And here is the tweet by Tom Fitton. Book, Obama DOJ threatened to prosecute FBI agent if he told anyone about Clinton emails on Wiener laptop. By the way, DOJ is still protecting Clinton. So, it says book excerpt, an FBI sex crimes investigator helped trigger 2016's whatever. So we're not going to go to that actual article, but let's continue on. He claims that after the discovery, the FBI sat on the information for a month, no doubt looking to simply ignore the finding. Meanwhile, as we know, corrupt FBI and Justice Department officials, as well as Obama's intelligence chiefs, DNI James Clapper and CIA Director John Brennan, were plotting against then GOP nominee Donald Trump to keep him out of the Oval Office. Finally, the FBI was forced to take some action after Robertson says he spoke to the U.S. Attorney's Office in charge of investigating the email case. Robertson unearthed tens of thousands of Clinton emails in late September 2016 on the laptop belonging to Wiener, the husband of top Clinton aide Huma Abedin, in a sex crimes case involving underage girls. But for weeks after being alerted, top FBI leaders, including fired FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, fired FBI agent Peter Strzok, and former FBI counterintelligence chief Bill Presap, took little to no action to investigate, the Washington Examiner added. So this is Paul Sperry. Now that the Washington Post has confirmed, as I first reported at Real Clear Investigations in 2018, the fact that FBI agent John Robertson blew the whistle on Comey covering up new Hillary emails he discovered on Wiener laptop, how was that suppression of evidence not obstruction of justice? Well, of course it was. So why hasn't anything been done? The crickets I was hearing was really making me uncomfortable because something was going to come down. Robertson later told Justice Department investigators, he says, why isn't anyone here? Like, if I'm the supervisor of any counterintelligence squad and I hear about this, I'm getting on with headquarters and saying, hey, some agent working child porn here may have Hillary Clinton's emails. Get your ass on the phone, call the case agent, and get a copy of that drive, because that's how it should be, he continued. And that nobody reached out to me within, like, that night. I still, to this day, don't understand what the hell went wrong. The FBI agent composed a letter to self following an October 19th, 2016 meeting with Assistant U.S. Attorney Amanda Kramer on the Southern District of New York, in which he pressed her to take a look at the thousands of emails he found. I have very deep misgivings about the institutional response of the FBI to the congressional investigation into the Hillary Clinton email matter. Put simply, I don't believe the handling of the material I have by the FBI is ethically or morally right. By my lawyer's advice, that I simply put my SSA on notice should cover me, is that I have completed cover your ass, and I have done so, Robertson wrote. Further, I was told by Kramer that I should whistleblow. Should I whistleblow, I will be prosecuted. The FBI possesses 20 times more emails than Comey testified to. And we've known that for a while because of who? Q. Yeah. While Comey did not know at the time about what I have, people in the FBI do now. And as far as I know, we are being silent, he added. So why is that? Really, why is that? I am hoping against hope. And there was one theory with Q that what he had started out with back in when he started, which was what, 2017? Yeah, it must be. That Hillary was going to be arrested and everything like that. And that was the first post. Now, a lot of people have surmised that it actually it's running backward. And so that will happen this October. I don't know. But if I don't see Hillary in jail soon, I'm going to lose hope that Trump is not deep state. Because really, if he's not, she should be in prison. So should John Podesta. The whole bunch of them should be. So let's see what happens. All right, let's go back now and get into the next. Now, this is the most, one of the crazy, I can't even say craziest anymore because it's like every day it gets more and more crazy. But this is right up there. London pub demands no extended eye contact as part of Corona rules. Oh, what? So you can give it to someone now by looking at them? Huh? What the heck is this? Really? Tell me this is not just mind control, big time. They are putting more and more and more restrictions on us, and we say nothing. I don't know. Anyway, this is today's. It's hot and fresh. And look at here, no handshaking, high-fiving, or extended eye contact with anyone not at your table. So I guess if it's somebody that's at your table, you can make eye contact with them, but not if it's someone at another table, because apparently that keeps everyone safer from COVID. I don't get it either. I'm sure they don't either. It just doesn't make sense. A pub in London has issued a set of coronavirus rules for social distancing that demands customers do not engage in extended eye contact with people sitting at other tables. It shouldn't say with people sat on other tables. I don't know. Nobody can. There's no editors left in the world, and nobody nobody knows proper grammar. It is the bane of my existence. Anyway. I'm not going to go through all this because, well, the whole thing is ridiculous. We know it's ridiculous. I just wanted to show. And underneath it says troll or real. I don't know, but if this is real, it's one of the stupidest things I've heard in a long, long, long time. But it could be troll. Who knows anymore? We don't. We don't. They play with us all the time. All right. Now, this is justthenews.com, and it says, what if a presidential candidate can't make it across the finish line? Well, I don't think that question's ever been asked before, because I don't think there's ever been a necessity to ask it before. But there sure is this time. This is a lot of firsts here. Have we ever had a presidential candidate campaign from home? Nope. Have we ever had a presidential candidate not answer any serious questions? No. And have we ever had a presidential candidate with dementia? No. So, yeah. That's what we're dealing with here. It's a hard subject to talk about, but it's one not far from voters' thoughts. Back in May, a stunning 28% of Democratic voters said Joe Biden will be replaced as ultimate party presidential nominee, according to a Just the News daily poll with Scott Rasmussen. Well, I don't know what the rules are concerning all this, and I don't know what happens if something happens to Joe Biden before the election. I don't know. And I don't think anything would happen to him before the election, but boy, I'd be sure watching my back if I was him after the election, if he gets in. And of course, he will only get in by cheating. All right. With the two oldest presidential candidates in U.S. history on the ballot in November, including one whose frequent verbal lapses and light campaign schedule have provoked some anxiety about age-related decline, it's probably worth reviewing some what-if scenarios that could be triggered should one of them be unable to cross the finish line. And we know which one of them is the one we're talking about. Yeah, don't have any doubt about Trump. Yeah, that man is the Energizer Bunny. Really, he just doesn't stop. It's a hard subject to talk about, but it's not one that's far from voters' thoughts. Back in May, for example, a stunning 28% of Democratic voters said Joe Biden will be replaced as ultimate party presidential nominee, according to Just the News daily poll with Scott Rasmussen. What then if ill health, incapacity, or even death were to prevent a candidate from making it to election day, or a president-elect from making it to his inauguration in January? These are exceedingly unlikely scenarios. No presidential candidate of a major party has ever died or withdrawn before a presidential election, notes an article posted at teachinghistory.org, and no president-elect has ever died or withdrawn after winning the general election, but before taking office. Then again, this is 2020. In the current period prior to November 3rd, technically we are each voting for a slate of electors, not a specific candidate. So votes would simply be transferred to the party's replacement candidate if a candidate is incapacitated or dies, former U.S. House member Dave Bratt told Just the News. In the period from Election Day in November to the Electoral College meeting, things get more complex as different states have different rules and the Supreme Court will likely come into play, said Bratt, now dean of the Liberty University Business School. The probability of either of these scenarios is very unlikely, but in the year 2020, it's best to think through every possible scenario ahead of time to ensure that our system of laws is respected and followed by all. If a health crisis were to prevent the Democratic candidate from making it to the election, the short answer is that a replacement would be chosen according to the DNC bylaws. Ilya Shapiro, director of Cato Institute's Robert A. Levy Center for Center for Constitutional Studies, told Just the News, if after the election there are other rules. Should a candidate pass away in October, a number of states would have already started early voting, including Vermont, where early voting began 45 days before election. Vermont Public Radio senior political correspondent Bob Kinzel reported in April, but it's thought that this really wouldn't be a problem because voters in November are technically voting for a slate of electors, not a specific candidate. So votes for the candidate who died would be transferred to the party's replacement candidate. However, if this happens, let's say a week before the election, Congress does have the authority to reschedule the election to allow time for a new candidate to be selected. Sections 3 and 4 of the 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution govern how presidential incapacity is handled, while the 20th Amendment covers the death of a president-elect before inauguration. If, at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the president-elect shall have died, the vice president-elect shall become president, stipulates the 20th Amendment. If a president shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of the term, or if the president-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the vice president-elect shall act as president until a president shall have qualified, and the Congress may, by law, provide for the case wherein neither a president-elect nor a vice president-elect shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as president, or the manner in which one who is to act shall be selected. Such a person shall act accordingly until a president or vice president shall have qualified. It's interesting. Now, this goes on quite a bit, but this really is these are very, very important questions because we don't know what we're facing here. We know that Biden is not the end candidate. He can't be. So either they're planning for him to, pass away, making Kamala the vice president or the president, or I don't know. I don't know what scenarios could play out, but it's very fascinating. We've never been in a situation like this before, and I hope we never are again. Because voters are choosing electors, incapacity would not require a change in the lineup, said Walter Olson, senior fellow at the Levy Center. The Biden-Harris electors remain the Biden-Harris electors. People vote for them. The electors in turn meet. And so long as Biden is well enough to be sworn in, all questions about secession can be resolved after Inauguration Day. Biden became the presumed nominee following a string of primary victories that led to chief rival Senator Bernie Sanders dropping out and endorsing Biden, who also has the backing of party leaders Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and others. Not that we care. The fact that they're endorsing him just further cements in our mind that he's totally inappropriate. Trepidations about Biden include whether enough of the party's progressive wing will turn out for the so-called Democratic establishment candidate, whether he's physically and mentally up for tangling one-on-one with Trump, a sexual assault allegation, and a strangely remote campaign featuring a candidate whose public appearances are strictly rationed is in part because of the coronavirus. No, it has nothing to do with the coronavirus. I think we can all agree on that. We're not that stupid, really. President Trump has repeatedly questioned Biden's mental stamina, with the Trump campaign creating a website called Barely There Biden, featuring a collection of videos of Biden's gaffes, including one that Trump tweeted out Sunday, showing Biden claiming that he entered the U.S. Senate 180 years ago. I think that's a little unfair, like I mentioned last night. Another video Trump shared showed Biden in an MSNBC interview searching for his words to remember a business lending program in the congressionally passed coronavirus relief package. Eventually, MSNBC anchor Stephanie Ruhle prompted Biden with the right verbiage. Okay, so I'm not going to get into all of this. We've looked at most of these Biden gaffes. So, says neither the Biden nor Trump campaigns responded to requests for comment from Just the News. So there you go. And it does kind of pose some very serious questions. And I don't know. We're in unprecedented territory here. So it'll be very interesting to see what plays out. And I think we're going to have a better idea after tonight. Maybe not, but I think we will. All right. Now, this is another very ridiculous. I mean, it's so ridiculous, it's ridiculous. Because look at this. British member of parliament nominates Biden for a Nobel Peace Prize. Say what? Yeah, and this is today's news, hot and fresh. Yeah, so don't you just think that somebody paid somebody to nominate the guy because Trump's been nominated 3 times and now Biden can say, well, I've been nominated as well. For what? Really, if anybody shouldn't win the Nobel Peace Prize, it's Biden. Well, and Obama, but yeah, that's a different story. Member of the British Parliament on Tuesday announced he was nominated Democratic presidential nominee, that he has nominated Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden for the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, you know what? If that just cheapens the whole Nobel Peace Prize, don't you think? I mean, the fact that Obama won it, I was like convinced then, this isn't real. Because what's Obama done? Absolutely nothing. What have you done for me lately? Absolutely nothing. When others have resorted to violent solutions, Biden has argued the best force is the force of argument. Chris Bryan, a member of the Labor Party, told The Standard, because guns can stop a heart, but well-placed words can change many hearts, and many hearts can change a world. Any head of state or national politician can nominate someone for the prize. So there you go. Any head of state or national politician can nominate someone for the prize. So they just probably paid someone off to have him nominated. I bet you any money. All right. Now, a far-right member of the Norwegian parliament, Christian Tybring-Gjedde, has nominated President Trump for the honor in both 2018 and 2020 for his merit. I think he has done more trying to create peace between nations than most other Peace Prize nominees, Tybring-Gjedde said in 2020, citing the U.S. brokered deal normalizing relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Russian President Vladimir Putin has also been nominated by a group of Russian public figures, including writer Sergei Kamkov, although the reason for his nomination was not made public. You all know that completely different people are nominated for this award. This is an initiative of those submitting the nomination. In this case, the nomination was submitted by the aforementioned writer. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said last week. Putin's nomination was reported shortly after dissident Alex, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, was released to a Berlin hospital after suspected poisoning with Novichok, a Soviet-era nerve agent. The Kremlin has denied any role in Navalny's, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over these words, illness, and accused Germany of stymieing an investigation into it. So far, 318 people and entities have been nominated for the 2020 prize, the 4th highest number ever. So there you go. Biden, yeah, he's now nominated. This would be a great place for a collective eye roll if you want to join me, make you feel better. Yeah, it does. I don't know. There's something about it. Makes you feel better. All right, let's go on now. This from Pat Ward, and he says the Trump campaign wants the Biden campaign to allow a third party to inspect the ears of the debaters for electronic devices or transmitters. The president has consented to this inspection, but Biden has not so far. And something else from Pat Ward, the Biden campaign requested 2 breaks, one every 30 minutes during tonight's program, which was denied by their Trump counterparts in negotiations over the last several weeks. So there you go. Biden wanted to have a rest every 30 minutes, because he thought probably it was just too much to talk for an hour and a half. But my gosh, look at the campaigns or the campaign stops that Trump does, the Trump rallies, and that guy will talk for hours. And, he doesn't need to take a break. In fact, he does several. He goes from first thing in the morning to late at night. I've never seen a president work as hard as he does. Not that he gets any credit for it, but he's a hard worker. Now, CNN. Tonight is the first presidential debate of the 2020 election cycle, where President Trump will face former Democratic nominee Joe Biden. CNN's Jessica Dean is live in Cleveland, where the socially distanced debate will take place to answer your questions. All right. Well, I don't have any intention of watching it on CNN because I don't believe that they wouldn't just cut out parts that they don't like, and cut away from people and, the shenanigans that they're always up to. So, and I am looking forward, very, very, very forward to that debate. So anyway, here's Jay, the Jayhawker. America has around 328 million people. Joe Biden said that 150 million people were lost to gun violence, and we just lost another 200 million to COVID. Is anyone besides me still alive? I love that. Yeah, 200 plus 150, that's 350, and there's only 328 million people in the country, so yeah, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. All right, I'm going to leave this because this will take a long time and might even need its own show. All right, and C3, if you are against checking for earpieces by a third-party inspector before a debate, you are planning on wearing an earpiece. Simple, right? If I wasn't wearing an earpiece and I was, debating someone, and they said, well, we need to check you for an earpiece before the debate. Well, if I said no, it'd be pretty obvious that I intended on wearing an earpiece. Wouldn't that be pretty obvious? Why would you? I don't know why you would be against that. Well, I know why he's against that, because he's wearing an earpiece and he's been given the questions in advance. Yes, he has. So it's not a fair debate to begin with. And plus, he'll be given the answers in his ear because he can't remember anything. And so that's just, all right. This we already have looked at, about the Soros paying the Florida felons, paying off their fines so they can vote. We have looked at that previously. So, and this, I like this. It is a quote by George Soros. I'm going to bring down the United States by funding black hate groups. We'll put them in a mental trap and make them blame white people. The black community is the easiest to manipulate. George Soros, and that was an interview with Germany's Bild, September 2014. He stated that, and that's exactly what he did. Exactly. Unbelievable. All right, and here's Cher. I tell you, there's something mentally wrong with this woman, like for real, because she's saying, Cher, if Trump wins, we'll never see another election by the people. What? That makes no sense, Cher. I don't know. Maybe they did her facelift too tight. I don't know, but she's got some issues. Far-left pop star Cher launched another unhinged, all-caps rant on Twitter, claiming that President Donald Trump will end elections in America if he steals the presidential election in November. Cher took to Twitter account on Wednesday to warn her 3.8 million followers that President Trump would end elections by the people and would replace them with elections for the rich. She ended her rant saying, "You will pay a price beyond comprehension for you and your children if Trump wins." And this is her rant. Swear to you, if Trump wins, steals second term, he'll get his wish, supreme leader, and we'll never see another election by the people. There'll be elections for the rich by Trump. If you think this can't happen, you will pay a price beyond comprehension for you and your children. He wants power. All right. So that was Cher's little nuggets of insight for what they're worth. Not a lot. Yeah. So, a little unhinged. She is definitely suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. Now, I like this by MAGA. My son got yelled at by the bus driver this morning because he forgot to put a mask on. He is 10. And his reply was this: "A mandate is not a law. It's a recommendation. I have the God-given right to breathe oxygen." I am so proud of him. That's a smart little boy. Yep. And well trained by his parents, I see. Now, let's look at this, shall we? Of course we shall. All right. This is to Lindsey Graham. It says, "Chairman Graham, in response to your request for the intelligence community information related to the Federal Bureau of Investigation Crossfire Hurricane investigation, I have declassified the following. In late July 2016, U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis alleging that U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had approved a campaign plan to stir up a scandal against U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump by trying to put Putin and the Russians' hacking of the Democratic National Committee by tying him to Putin and the Russian hacking of the Democratic National Committee. The intelligence community does not know the accuracy of this allegation or the extent to which the Russian intelligence analysis may reflect exaggeration or fabrication. According to his handwritten notes, former Central Intelligence Agency Director Brennan subsequently briefed President Obama and other senior national security officials on the intelligence, including the alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on July 26, 2016, of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up scandal, claiming interference by Russian security services. On the 7th of September 2016, U.S. intelligence officials forwarded an investigative referral to FBI Director James Comey and Deputy Assistant Director of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok regarding U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections as a means of distracting the public from her use of a private email server. As referenced in his 24th of September 2020 letter to your committee, Attorney General Barr has advised that the disclosure of this information will not interfere with ongoing Department of Justice investigations. Additional declassification and public disclosure of related intelligence remains under consideration. However, the intelligence community welcomes the opportunity to provide a classified briefing with further detail at your convenience. So please tell me why Hillary Clinton isn't in jail now. Why? I'd like to know. Now, this is signed John Ratcliffe. So anyway, now I do want you to see the following. Report, Joe Biden has been given tonight's debate questions in advance. Well, is there any doubt of that, really? He couldn't function unless he was given the questions in advance. Same as Hillary. She had all the questions in advance. And she couldn't, even with the questions in advance, she couldn't stand up to Trump. So, I don't know. Presidential candidate Joe Biden has been given tonight's debate questions in advance, according to radio host Todd Starnes. Word on the street is that Joe Biden got tonight's debate questions in advance, tweeted Starnes, citing radio station KXEL 1540. If true, this wouldn't be the first instance of questions being provided to a Democratic candidate before a crucial debate. 2017, Democratic operative Donna Brazile admitted that she had exploited her role as a CNN commentator to feed debate questions to Hillary Clinton beforehand. And now she's working for Fox. Isn't she working for Fox, or is she working for CNN? I thought she was working for Fox now. Well, you could be sure that, I mean, she's still in a position to give him the questions. So, yeah. In October, a subsequent release of emails revealed that among many things I did in my role as a Democratic operative and Democratic National Committee vice chair prior to assuming interim DNC chair position was to share potential town hall topics with the Clinton campaign, said Brazile. She admits it. Yep. Democrats cheat. That's what they do. They can't win any other way. They certainly can't win by their ideas or their action or their record of past action, because they never do anything. They get paid for doing nothing. All right. So as we highlighted earlier, the Biden campaign appears to be trying to eke out every advantage it can get, perhaps in the fear that former VP is not up to a 90-minute performance. Fox News reported that Biden's team requested a break after every 30 minutes of the debate, but that proposal was rejected by the Trump campaign. Team Trump has also asked that earpieces be checked to ensure that Biden was not being fed lines by his staffers, and he refused, as we know. All right, so let's come back now and let's see what else we have here. Yes, all right. Now, he says, how is it conceivable that ABC News could republish such a blatant misstatement of facts in American history? Don't they have fact checkers there who majored in something besides lesbian interpretive dance? Oh my gosh, that guy's so funny. He is so funny. He says, Joe Biden says, never before in our nation's history has a Supreme Court justice been nominated and installed while a presidential election is already underway. It defies every precedent. Well, we know that's not true. In fact, it's happened a number of times. It happened to Obama, did it not? My gosh. I don't understand how they let this go through. Why would ABC News allow that? Why? Well, I mean, we know why, but yeah. Biden was a history major at Delaware State. Come on, man. That's what somebody wrote there. All righty. Let's go on here. And here, well, you know, haven't heard from her for a while, so let's hear from Dippy here. Amid economic turmoil, AOC demands Cuomo and de Blasio raise taxes on New Yorkers. Oh, that'll keep them in the city, won't it? I mean, there's a big exodus out of the city. Yeah, let's raise their taxes. That'll help everything. I'm telling you, this woman does not have a brain in her head. Though her brief but transformative tenure in Congress, Democratic Representative Alexandria, I call her Occasional Cortex, has repeatedly shown she has more charisma than economic sense. Oh, you think she has charisma? All right. I think a potato has more charisma, but, you know, maybe that's just me. One of the most memorable examples of this young woman's poor judgment came shortly after she assumed office in January 2019. Based upon an erroneous interpretation of the deal, she recklessly and foolishly launched an attack on Amazon over its plans to build part of its second headquarters in Queens, New York. This was a major blunder. She amazingly misunderstood the $2.8 billion in tax cuts promised to the tech giant by New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo and New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, both Democrats, to be a cost to the state and the city rather than a reduction of the nearly $30 billion in tax revenue the enterprise was expected to bring. How did an economics major miss that? Well, I don't know. In addition to the proposed $27 billion in potential new tax revenue, her relentless campaign to scuttle the deal cost the state roughly 25,000 new jobs. On Wednesday, the freshman congresswoman's inexperience and lack of judgment knowledge reared its ugly head again as she demanded that Cuomo and de Blasio raise taxes to provide increased funding for schools and child care programs in the city. I'm calling on Mayor de Blasio and Governor Cuomo to raise revenue to fund universal child care programs, significantly increase staffing at schools, and fund the infrastructure improvements, including ventilation, that our school buildings need to be safe, AOC said in a statement, the New York Post reported. According to the Post, Ocasio-Cortez said that she has received complaints from her constituents due to COVID-19 safety concerns. Schools are not safe to reopen. Poorly ventilated and unsanitized classrooms, ambiguous or ineffective health screening, COVID testing and contact tracing protocols, and severe staffing shortages on top of COVID cases in at least 55 schools all indicate we are not ready to reopen, she said. She also faulted the mayor for backing a proposal that cut $700 million from the school budget while cutting almost nothing meaningful from the New York Police Department. This allegation is false, as de Blasio did indeed slash $1 billion from the New York Police Department's budget, an action for which he has been sharply and rightfully criticized. So how does Ocasio-Cortez expect these items to be paid for? By tax increases on the rich, of course. City residents are already reeling from the effects of the COVID-19 recession, which has caused massive job losses and plummeting tax revenues, according to the Post. Cuomo opposes hiking taxes on the rich, noting that wealthy New Yorkers left the city in large numbers at the height of the pandemic and expressing the concern that they may not return if taxes are increased. He believes raising taxes on the wealthy would make New York uncompetitive with other states, according to the Post. It's worth pointing out that New York currently has the highest overall tax burden in the U.S., according to Wallet Hub, with a total burden of 12.2%. Is it any wonder that there's been a mass departure from New York City over the last several months? And I happen to agree with Cuomo and de Blasio on this. Raising taxes is not the answer. Now, I think that getting a new mayor and a new governor would go a long way in solving a lot of problems, but hey. And that is an airplane. All right. Moving company executives called the recent exodus insane, with United Van Line CEO Mark Rogers having told Fox Business that the majority of residents moving out of Manhattan, 61%, are earning over $100,000, the outlet reported. The state's governor seemed to understand this and has resisted what is usually a knee-jerk reaction for most Democrats who believe they're entitled to a never-ending stream of other people's money. Cuomo knows that when you rely heavily on tax revenue from businesses and rich people, you can't afford to lose them. Despite all this, Fox Business reported that de Blasio has said he is not opposed to raising rates. Okay, well, there you go. De Blasio, still an idiot. He said he is not opposed to raising rates on the city's wealthiest residents. The unpopular mayor has called on Cuomo and the state legislators to approve $5 billion borrowing package for the city over 2 years to prevent a threatened 21,000 layoffs of municipal workers and preserve basic services, the Post added. Ocasio-Cortez, meanwhile, claimed the state owes the New York City public school system $3.9 billion in funding. This supposedly dates back to a 2006 court ruling over a dispute between a group of New York City parents in the state of New York, according to a 2016 article in The 74, an education news website, which described the legal fight as a decades-long battle over long-standing funding inequities in public schools. We are in this situation because we have balanced our budgets on the backs of students for decades. Okay, well, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is AOC wants to raise taxes. Cuomo doesn't. De Blasio does. So they'll probably get raised. They probably will. And it's sad because these people just don't get it. They don't get it at all. All right. Now, okay, well, this is a story that we don't need to look into because we've already kind of looked at it, that Biden has reneged and now he won't submit to being searched for an earpiece, which, you know, does not surprise me in the least, not in the least. All right, I just want to check how we're doing here, make sure everything's okay. Still recording, still okay. Still have my furry feline friend back there keeping me company, as always. Yep. It is, you know, it's not a home until there's a cat sleeping on the back of your couch or chair. Right, Xander? Yes. Xander just likes to be near me. Wherever I am, he goes and lays down. Sammy's more autonomous. You know, he's a very cool cat. He's like a male cat. You know, he just built like a male and the big man paws, but he is just the coolest cat. I wish that he'd drop in every now and then. I really do. Maybe sometime I'll take some video of him and Xander. I don't know. Has nothing to do with the news, but gosh darn it, it would be cute. So let's look at this. Nancy Pelosi, yeah, her, unveils $2.2 trillion compromise coronavirus aid bill. Well, look at that. I wonder what kind of pork is in there. Probably lots. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi unveils her $2.2 trillion compromise coronavirus aid bill on Tuesday. She unveiled her $2.2 trillion coronavirus bill as a move to find common ground with congressional Republicans and President Donald Trump, both of whom want a more targeted relief bill because she's got everything in there but the kitchen sink. Axios reported that the bill serves as part of Pelosi's last-ditch effort to make a deal with the White House before the November elections. The $2.2 trillion bill includes funding for schools, small businesses, restaurants, and airline workers. The legislation also sets aside $75 billion for contact tracing, with special attention to the disparities facing communities of color. The Pelosi coronavirus bill has 2 rounds of 1,200 payments for taxpayers and $500 per dependent, along with 600 weekly federal unemployment benefits through January. Conservatives contend that the high unemployment benefit might discourage Americans from going back to work. Huh, you think? The bill also sets aside $436 billion for state and local government aid, which conservatives such as Senator Rick Scott say would unfairly benefit fiscally irresponsible states such as New York and California. Pelosi said in a statement on Monday that the bill serves as our proffer to Republicans to come to negotiations to address the health and economic catastrophe in this country. The House leader released the bill right before Pelosi was set to have a call with Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin on Tuesday. Moreover, Pelosi's actions may aim stem. I don't know what they're trying to say there. May aim stem the growing revolt by modern Democrats as many coronavirus aid programs continue to languish. Moderate Democrats such as Max Rose, Abigail Spanberger, and Kendra Horn have called for House leaders to pass a coronavirus bill as soon as possible. Pelosi and House Democrats, however, blocked a Republican motion on Wednesday that would provide more aid for small business and workers last week. Pelosi believes that this new bill shows that House Democrats are willing to compromise. Oh my gosh, really? Not ever are they willing to negotiate. Democrats are making good on our promise to compromise with this updated bill, Pelosi said. Yeah, right. I cannot wait until she is out of office because you know what? I cannot wait to not see her face plastered all over the news every day. Really. Her and her stupid eyebrows. And I don't care. I'll insult the brows. I'm going straight for the brows. All right. Now, let's look at this. And then I think I'm getting close to wrapping up tonight. I'm not doing a full hour tonight because I wanted to get this done and in and uploaded before the debate because that debate is very important to me. And I will report back to you guys tomorrow on it. I promise. So Nancy Pelosi just gave Joe Biden some really wacko advice for tonight's presidential debate. Well, any advice Pelosi gives is wacko advice. Wouldn't you say? I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. I'm just saying. Anyway, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi spoke out hours before Tuesday night's presidential debate to send a message to Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, urging him to save the planet. In an interview with MSNBC, Pelosi offered Biden some advice before he takes on President Donald Trump in a debate for the first time. Be yourself, Pelosi said. Save the planet. Save the planet? What is this lady talking about? This comes after Pelosi spent weeks saying that Biden should refuse to debate Trump, arguing that the president and his henchmen have no fidelity to facts or the truth, according to Fox News. Not that I don't think he'll be excellent, Pelosi said, referring to Biden. I just think that the president has no fidelity to fact or truth, and actually, in his comments the last few days, no fidelity to the Constitution of the United States. He and his henchmen are a danger, and with their comments, are a danger to our democracy, she added, so I don't want to give him. I mean, why bother? He doesn't tell the truth. Pelosi first called on Biden to cancel his debates with Trump a month ago, saying at the time that she does not want the debates to become an exercise in skullduggery. You know what I'm trying to say. Pelosi first called, I wouldn't legitimize a conversation with him, nor a debate in terms of presidency of the United States, she said. Now I know that the Biden campaign thinks in a different way about this. Biden, however, refused to take her advice. As long as the commission continues down the straight and narrow as they have, I'm going to debate him, he said. I'm going to be a fact check on the floor while I'm debating him. I'm going to be a fact checked on the floor while I'm debating him. That doesn't even make sense. Meanwhile, the Biden campaign has been trying to downplay the importance of the debates, with a source saying there is no debate performance that can fundamentally shift the race because of what people are living through, referring to COVID-19. Everyone is stuck in a reality on account of Trump's mismanagement, so there is no outcome during the debate that can really change the trajectory of this race, the source said. If Trump has a good debate, which we anticipate, and he has no compunctions about lying through his teeth and making things up on the spot, American life is still defined by his failure to have any plan to beat COVID. These people are despicable and they're evil. They're evil. They really and truly are evil. And that's what I have to say about that. So I think what I'm going to do now, and I realize that it's a little bit, we're at 52 minutes, so I gave you almost an hour. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to be discussing the debates, definitely, along with any other news. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I'm sure many of you will be watching the debate as well, gritting your teeth and wanting to spit nickels at the screen. But anyway, you have a wonderful night. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and please keep seeking the truth. And thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it, because I know there's a lot of people out there with YouTube channels. So I recognize that it is, and it's humbling, really, to see the quality of people that listen to this channel. It really is very humbling. So anyway, you guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.